All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got 5 o'clock, so I will call this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members of the council are present. Mr. Tellos, you want to give us a quarterly goal update? Granted, we're only 2 weeks in, so
yes, sir.
Understand there's probably not a lot of action on these.
There is not. If you look on most of your events that involve like the Enterprise Rescue Hangar, the TAP program for Daleville Avenue, we have a corporate hangar, complete phase 1 of City Hall, phase 1 of the PV Sports Fields and Complex, and phase 2 as well. All of those are on schedule. So all of our construction projects are still in the timelines that have previously been briefed to you. By the end of the year, we should close out most of them, at least the ones that are on here. For instance, we won't finish City Hall, but we should be done with phase 1 of City Hall. We're going to start the TAP project. That notice to proceed was given on the 8th to the contractor. So he has 15 days from the 8th to start the work. So that should be on track to start this month. We do need to bring you an itemized amount for you to consider on the Aviator Monument, and I'm just waiting to kind of get an accurate number of books that we might, with a cost per book, and give you a plan on who we would give those books to. So in other words, a few for Pea River Historical Society, potentially a few for the public library, and then a few for each library within the education system for Enterprise City Schools and probably Enterprise State Community College. Your nuisance property quarterly report, you'll get that from Thomas at one of the next 2 council meetings. We have seen a few of these that are still with attorneys, bylaws for land banks, the North Industrial Park to developer, and also the Project Panama development agreement. All those are done on our end. We're waiting on outside legal counsel or the respective company to execute the contract. Strategic planning facilitator, that's one that we talked about. I don't know if you want to put that on a future council item or if you just want to authorize. I think we've got money in the budget to do that. If everybody's okay with that. I didn't remember exactly where we left that after your conversation with Mr. Wade.
I think we just said that we needed to bring something actionable, if necessary, something actionable to the council. If you don't think we need to take action on it, then I guess that would I think it would probably be best if we did.
That's no problem. Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted us to take it out of training itemized from the administration.
But I'm sure we need
budget.
to get an agreement with him, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, unless somebody has another preference, I think we'll just. Why don't you just bring us something? It sounds like everybody's comfortable moving forward with that. At least giving it a try.
Okay.
I mean, now that we're on that, Neil had given me a date. Everybody look at your calendar. He wants to do that on January 14th. How does that would be our annual strategic planning. That's a Tuesday between 2 council meetings. Does anybody have any conflict on January 14th? You're good? Mm-hmm. Eugene? Yeah, just block off the,
What is it they were doing?
It's our annual planning.
There's probably enough time for this, Councilman Goolsby and Mayor, but that right now the water board is scheduled to meet that day. So if we could try to get the water board to maybe move that event, that would be the only conflict I see on the city calendar.
Greg, you good? All right. Well, then let's go forward with that date. Yeah, if y'all could, between now and January, get that water board maybe changed. because that was the day that they had available.
I don't know if Leanne wants to give any update on the audit, but her goal was to start, and I think I was asked several questions about the audit today, so I know that you're underway on that. So
That's good. 15 days in, so we're good.
On the back page, and I know these are just for future consideration, do you have any other additions for future consideration that you wanted to add to that list, or does that list look fairly accurate? Of course, you can always do it, I guess, between now and the strategic planning.
Yeah. And this would be a good, keep in mind, we'll be having that all day, strategic planning. So anything that you don't want to slip through, that you don't want slip through the cracks, shoot me an email or a text, and I'll, either me or Jonathan will get it added to this list.
That's really it. Like I said, I think we're on track for most of these. I know that you talked, Chief Moore talked about the SRO increase, that we had added 1 this year. That's probably all we're going to get. So I know that goal was to go from 4 to 6. Yeah.
So part of that, I think I spoke last time, is the opportunity to hire retired police officers to work Monday through Friday. Well, anytime the school's in, they're there. The RSA, kind of give a recap, the RSA allows them to make more money than the average retired person. They can make up to 36. SROs can make up to 52. Nice. I've already got one that's retired from the city of Enterprise. He works for Coffee County. I spoke to him last week. He's extremely interested in coming and working for the school system. And that would put another one in there. The school system pays 85% of the salary. So, of course, that's not budgeted. I didn't budget for that this year. Still have to have the conversation with the school system. But that's still my goal, is to get some retired. And again, I've got probably next year, I'll probably have at least 3 more that have already shown interest once they retire from their current law enforcement job to come and work for the school system. So that's kind of where I'm at now, is discussing, having a conversation with the school board and whoever else to start that implementing the retired police officers.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
As a side note, Chief, last week I was up in Montgomery with the League of Municipalities meeting, and I'm on the Public Safety Board.
Yes, sir.
And we brought that up as an issue from our committee to take to the legislatures of the state paying completely for all that. So that's going forward. And what I'm asking is everybody, contact your legislatures and let them know that this is coming up and we need support on it. But everybody in the committee said, yeah, we need for them to pay it, do
Yes,
the
sir.
whole thing out of the state. So.
Yes, sir. So currently I have 5 in there. We have 9 schools. Until I get all the schools covered by a retired police officer, I'll keep, trying. That's my goal, is to get 1 in every school and a supervisor to oversee everything. So that's what I'm going to be working on this next year. All right. Thank you.
So that goal will probably not be met 4 to 6. If you look on there, kind of halfway down, SR increased. I think it was from 4 to 6 this year. Mm-hmm. We did get to 5, and I think that's a pretty notable increase considering the state of law enforcement, nationwide. Chief Moore is facing a lot of the same challenges that law enforcement from California to New York are facing. It's hard to get people interested in serving. Everything from how people are treat law enforcement to the policies that they have to ensure and go the extra mile to make sure that they're doing the right thing. It becomes a very tiresome and thankless job. And so I'm pretty proud of the work that he's done to get at least one more SRO in our schools, and I think he does have a good plan moving forward.
Sounds like it. I like the thought of recruiting for the future. I mean, that's good.
That's really it, council, for the goals. So I
Any
think-
questions? I know it's a new list, and obviously we'll be making more progress in the month of November. All right, so we will move on to our agenda review. Looks like we're going to have a pretty light meeting tonight. All right, our regular meeting agenda starts with, of course, roll call, opening prayer and pledge of allegiance, and the agenda approval. Then we'll move to consent agenda, which consists of city council meeting minutes from October 1, contract billings from Whaley for the Rec and Aquatic Center, Fine Getty for our state governmental affairs contract, and the USDA has done some work on our wildlife damage management. We've got a travel request from Mariah Montgomery for the Main Street and 2 Main Street board members to go to the quarterly training. Any questions, concerns on consent agenda? Then we've got a mayoral proclamation for Pilot International, privilege of the floor, and staff reports. Before moving to old business, we'll have a public hearing and consideration of a rezone from ST Properties, which is on Glover Avenue. We're going from high-density, single-family residential district. We can save that report for the public hearing. Scotty, you said that you didn't expect a big crowd tonight on that, right?
No, not at all. We didn't have anybody there during city plan review.
So we've got a veterinary services animal control chief. Or Barry, you gonna handle that? I know we talked briefly about this.
Yes, sir. So Chief will give you an update on it, but we did reach out to all the veterinarian, the vets in Enterprise. I think there was 6 of them in town. So we hand-delivered or called each one of them, made sure they knew it was out there. We only received 1 bid on this, and it came in significantly over where it was last year. But they did meet all the bid requirements for the requirements of the bid, and it was a responsive bid, so we recommend moving forward. Chief's had some discussion with the veterinarian, and, at least for the first, short period of time, maybe a year or whatever, they may look back at other opportunities, but at this point, we'd recommend move forward with this. Chief and I both agree with that.
Okay. Any questions of Barry on this? Or Chief, did you have anything that we need to know on this veterinary services contract?
So we have, again, future plan to take care of all our issues. I talked to Dr. Sparrow last Friday in great depth, discussing the plans of the future. He said he's not ready for retirement, but he will be in the future. So that's what I was just talking to Jonathan about is what I'm working on, which I'm not ready to say in the open area where I'm at because I don't want anything to be ruined, but I'm working on a plan to take care of the future. If you can just
But this
give me a
gets
year.
us another year down the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And by then I'll have, I feel like we'll have a great plan in the future.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
I'll tack on what we can in an open session, but we were in contact with the county last week, and they have a requirement by the state to do that. I think where they were doing that is currently not willing to go forward. I think they were doing it in Elba. So we need to have at least a conversation with the county.
So we can do a joint venture with them.
However that looks, but they've got a similar problem.
Yeah.
And so we at least need to entertain a conversation with the county commission about how they're going to solve their problem and see if that's a good fit for us. So that's one part of it. But it may not work for us. It may be the right answer, but I think that conversation needs to be had soon.
Okay. Anything else? Everybody good with that? All right, so we've got some introduction of some planning commission recommendations. All we're doing tonight in new business is introducing these. Tom Sims of Longleaf, you can see the list there on behalf of Boland Properties. These are, this is 22 acres in Nance subdivision located off Paul Street. Scotty, you were telling me this is back behind the old Boland Lanes.
Yes. And-
Between Coppinville and
Right.
84.
Right, and it's been platted since, what, 1975?
In the
You wanna
early,
talk?
in the early 70s, it was originally platted, and it was never developed. So what the developer is asked to do basically is to go back in and comply with the intention of the subdivision, but to move some lot lines around and shift a street just a little bit to comply with some changes that's happened over the last 50 years. So it's a modification to the existing
So
plat.
remind us what R3 high-density single-family is.
It is, so R1 to R3 are single-family detached. R1 is the biggest lot, R3 is the smallest lot, so these are smaller lots.
Is that like a 50, 60-foot lot
It's about
line?
a 50-foot, 55-foot lot, if I
So
remember
a
correctly.
garden home, little,
Correct.
not tiny homes, but.
It is smaller lots than what was originally platted in the 70s, but it is not like a real tiny lot. It's kind of medium density, and when it comes to the high density side of it.
Okay.
True. Yeah, so the Turtleback area that's going to be an R3 as well. So this is something we've got in other subdivisions there. We haven't had any pushback from our office, from any of the residents that are there. They're actually glad to see the development move forward. And we were happy to see that, that Todd wanted to move forward with his development. We're working with him within the rezoning that we do have to allow him to do that. The fund zone was built on part of that subdivision, so we had to shift a little bit of the roads just a little bit to get those road alignments, ingress and egress easements out of the fund zone. So it was unanimous to move forward with it.
All right, so no action on that night. All we're doing is introducing it. So there's two separate rezones that we'll introduce, but those are related, right? Same contiguous. Then we're going to declare some properties a public nuisance.
Yes, sir. So this is just the introduction and a call that we will have a public hearing set aside for 2 meetings from now. So what we did last time is what I plan to do next time is if they have not been abated by that meeting, then I'll come with photographs and ask for y'all to consider declaring those a public nuisance.
And that would be in the form of a hearing, right?
Correct. So if they do get taken care of over the next next month, 30 days between the second meeting in November, then those won't come to you on that meeting. But if they have not been negated by that point, I will bring you photographs and a recommendation or ask for y'all to declare those a public nuisance, and we move forward with them like we did the first batch.
How's that been going?
Very
with
well.
the first batch?
Very well. We did the first batch in-house with Public Works staff. All but one of those took a minor amount of effort and was not a big burden for our Public Works group. One of those was pretty significant, but we were able to accomplish that. So right now, I'd like to keep the mitigation and the negating of the nuisance in our Public Works department without going outside at this point.
Any questions on those public nuisance properties? All right, then we've got the amending the classification plan salary schedule. Who wants to update us on that? So we're changing some positions of aquatic supervisor, rec leader, pay grade, and recreation aide.
Yes, Council, this is positions that we budgeted for, taking the scorekeeper and nighttime supervisor and changing the scorekeeper to recreation aide and the night supervisor to recreation leader, adding additional duties to them and also bumping the pay on those positions as well.
Any questions on these amending of the classification plan and salary schedule? And the next item is yours also, the membership rates and hours of operation for the Rec and Aquatic Center. This is what you've introduced us.
Yes, sir.
several
Back
meetings
in
ago.
April, you had this packet that I gave each of you at a work session to review. It's been several months since, and kind of breaking it down tonight to approve, day one rates, day one hours, stripping everything down to kind of make it kind of clean for you. Still know that we can go down several rabbit holes of what if this, what if that, and I'm here to answer those questions tonight. But basically, an individual membership would be $150 per year. That breaks out to, if you wanted to break it out, $12.50 a month. Okay, let's say that's for me. If I signed up now, if my wife wanted to sign up, okay, she would go under me as my wife, and that'd be $100 for her. If I have a child that's above the year 5 years of age, it'd be $100 for them. So depending on how many children you have after that. Okay, military individual, $140 a month. That breaks out to $11.66 per month. $140 annual, excuse me. Same thing as far as the spouse goes. Show your military ID, and then your family's $100 per member in your family. Senior, 65 and older, be $140 a month, just like military. And then we also, this is probably new from the last time, but also offered in a corporate membership, so a business that wanted to do that for 10 employees max would be $1,000 for the month. And then you get into the walk-in fees, and something I want to clarify
That's
on the walk.
annual, right? $1,000 annual, right?
Yes, sir,
For the
annual.
corporate.
What am I? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Your big packet should have what I'm reading off to you. Okay.
Yeah, we've got,
Looking at the non-member walk-in fee, an individual 5 and under is free, but an individual will be $5 a day. That is the rec center only. I want to make that clear. That's the rec center building only. That includes the weight room, the cardio room, and open gym. Okay. Down there, you'll see pool access is $5. That's an additional $5, okay? So if I come that day and I want to get a cardio workout in, okay, that's going to be $5. And if I want to go over to use the pool that day, it's additional $5, so $10 for the day, okay? Military, everything across there is $5. And then fitness class drop-in, if there is an opening, because we're going to do pre-registration for our classes, it'd be $10 for a drop-in fee there on the fitness class. Hours, that's pretty self-explanatory, but Monday through Friday, the building opening from 5 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., Saturdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then the pool, you'll notice, since it's not indoors or we didn't put any heat on the pool, we're opening for 6 months, and that's April to September, okay? 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, and on Sundays 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
any questions about that? I know we've had an opportunity to review that already. All right. Next item is airport engineering and planning consulting services.
Yes, sir. So the FAA and the ALDOT requires that every 5 years we re-up the consulting services that we get for that. So it's like an on-call contract. We do a master services agreement with them. So what we do is we open up for any professional firm to come in and give us their proposals, is selected on qualifications, and then we go through that. We'll put a committee together, and I've selected a 4-panel committee for that, and we'll go through the proposals, may or may not do interviews, face-to-face presentations, but we'll come back to you with a recommendation to select a consulting firm for the next 5 years. And then that'll be put up as a master service agreement. We'll do task orders off of that the same way we've done with like Polly's contract that we have, and the current consultant we use now is Barge Design Solutions. So not saying Barge is not going to get the next 5 years, but we have to go up and re-advertise and go back through that process again and reselect another firm, a firm, for the next 5 years. And this keeps us in compliance with our grant assurances.
Any questions from Barry on the airport engineering and planning consulting services? All right, next item is the PV Park irrigation well.
Yes, sir. So if you know, in the PV Park Phase 1, there was an irrigation well that was removed out of that project. We want to go back and advertise for that irrigation well, working with Glenn on that. We want to go and get your permission to go for advertisements for that project. we're still refining the bid specifications about the size, the gallons per minute, the pressure required. So this would be a well that would service not just PV Phase 1, but PV Phase 2 as well. And as you know, we're doing a pedestrian crossing bridge between those two locations. So we would tie this in to be attached to that wooden structure between the two of them. So tonight, I'm just asking permission to go to bids for that irrigation well.
Any questions on that?
Who will be maintaining this well, the city or the water department?
It's so this is not potable water, so it will not be the water department. It'd be city staff.
Any other questions? All right. So the next two items, we're just going to change. We've already talked about this, but we need to change the meeting locations. Or the first item is meeting location change on November 5th, which is election night. You know, this is currently a polling location. So we're going to move our meeting like we did last time this conflict happened over to the Enterprise City Board of Education. Everybody still on board with that? Same time, just changed venue, which according to our rules, we need to do that and give plenty of notice. Then on December 3rd, we have the Enterprise Christmas Parade. So this is certainly not the first time that conflict has happened either. And traditionally, what has been done is simply what we're doing here is moving the meeting from 6 p.m. to noon on that day. So everybody's still on board with that?
Good.
All right. Then we'll move into mayor's report and council member comments. Everybody good with that agenda? No additions or deletions? All right. So that is all that we had on our agenda. Jonathan, you or staff have anything else? Barry, I'm going to ask you, put you on the spot, the rec center delivery date.
Be glad to. The rec center's coming along very nicely. Our contractor being Whaley Construction, they're probably 90% complete with the project. Most of everything will be done, I'm expecting in that November timeframe, but realistically, with a punch list and all, we'll have it wrapped up by the end of this calendar year in December. For most part, all the pool and all is working. The pumps are online. We've got some work to do with them about making sure that the acid and the chlorine injection and all is working like it should in that pool area. We did a walkthrough on about, 80% of the building so far, and came up with a pretty, I'm going to say a lengthy punch list. It's no more than what I would expect on a facility like that. But there's some things that the contractor needs to go back and to get up to speed or make sure that it meets the bids or the specifications of the design. But the project is coming very nicely if you've been out there. There's some things that we're tweaking, some things that we've done, like as council approved the grant to move forward with the additional, like the passive workout
fitness
stuff, thing. Talked to them, got a price from them earlier this week, end of last week, I'm sorry, for that, and working on that to see if we have room in our contract with Whaley to allow them to pour the concrete for that.
And that's going over where the job site trailer was?
It was, right where the old tennis courts were in that location, where the job site trailer was, and we're working with that. They gave us I thought a very, very reasonable price for that. But I think that it's well within the budget for the project. I'm trying to see if it's within the budget of what we have under Whaley's contract to do that work. So also working on a couple other things while we're out there. I met with Alabama Power and all. There's some old power lines that come along the back of the building that are kind of an eyesore, but they service poles that are not needed anymore because of the new lights we have around the rec center. So working on seeing if we can get those lines removed and clean up the back side of that building as well. So they are in our original project budget, just trying to how do I get those all done and under a contract so we can get them wrapped up. Those things could follow maybe a first quarter of 2025, those couple of little projects. But for the most part, I see the facility being handed over to Parks and Rec, end of this calendar year. It's a beautiful facility. Can't wait to take you all back through it again and then show you how it's turned out so far.
So I got one question. So the soft opening is probably shifted, right? Instead of mid-December?
Do you have a date yet?
that was put out last?
I'll let Billy, because Billy's coordinated that opening.
Okay.
I'm gonna let him do that.
Let me
My
mention,
job was to build it, it was his job to operate it.
Exactly.
Barry, let me mention one other thing. About a month ago, I mentioned the 3 cuts in the asphalt on Lee Street in front of the rec center. And they're in terrible condition. They
Yes,
need
sir.
patching.
We will make sure those things are patched smooth when we get through with the project. Some of that was, actually, all of that was our water department cutting some of those services across there. So I don't know if that was actually contractor or if that was something that we did in-house to patch those streets. But I promise you, we'll get those things where they're top-notch before we get through with this. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Scotty, I'm sorry, what was the question? I was reading over some notes.
Last meeting, we talked about a soft opening in mid-December. I'm just wondering now, is that going to be moved to right? Because of a basketball tournament in January and volleyball in February, March. So
Well,
somebody
our-
asked me, and I've been
yes.
put mid-March, or mid-December.
As of now, we're sticking to our goal to try to have the facility open by 1st of January.
Okay.
Part of the reasons, our youth basketball registration. Last year, we had 65 participants. We did our registration sign up, and we had 600, we're going to be maxing out at 625.
Wow.
So the gyms just can't get here quick enough. So we're going to do everything that we can to get the facility open. Our plan was try to have some type of soft opening prior to January, but a lot of this is determined on how quick we can get in there. We were expecting to be taking over the facility this month. So it looks like it's more than likely going to be in November. And then again, there's things that we have to do to outfit the facility for operation.
Yeah, that's why I didn't give them a date, just
I would love to say a date, but
Yeah.
but
It'll be there.
but we're going to try to act and move as fast as we can. And then as we know more in November, maybe I can give you a better date.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay.
Anything else from the council?
Mr. Scotty,
Sure.
one thing that I want to mention is, when we did this project, there's basically 2 phases to it. The contractor is to build a facility to get it, to a point to hand it over, but we also have security access points through every one of the doors. That has to be done through our staff, through city staff and our IT department, as well as tying in all the cameras and all the stuff that has to be done as well. So just because the contractor's done doesn't mean that we're ready to open the next day. We have to have furniture delivered, stand up those facilities. So there's a lot of work to do, even though we punch it out and the area is, for the most part, ready, we still have a lot of work to do. So it will be a time that we are working in the same space with the contractor to finish up some of those areas. So
Doesn't happen overnight. That's what I've been
it
told.
is, I always say that last 10% seems like it takes 80% of the time and effort to get that last 10% done. But I'm very proud of that project. It's coming along very well.
Thanks, Barry.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have anything else for the work session? All right, we will recess until our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Is the microphone working? Can you hear me, Warren? All right, I've got 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members of the City Council are present. If you would, please stand with me for the opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Cooper is going to lead us in our opening prayer. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Council, in front of you, you've got the agenda that we discussed in the meeting prior and work session. I will entertain a motion to approve this agenda of the meeting as submitted.
Move to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the City Council. I'll now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now recognize Mayor Cooper, who is going to read a proclamation declaring Friday, October 18th, 2024 as Pilot International and Pilot International Founders Fund Day in the City of Enterprise. Mayor?
We're going to ask the Pilot Club members if they will come up front with the council, please. Yeah. Tell me. Okay, ladies, we are ready now. Proclamation. Whereas Pilot International was formed as a volunteer service organization for business and professional women in Macon, Georgia on October 18, 1921. And whereas from the beginning, Pilot International has worked to influence positive change in communities throughout the world. And whereas Pilot International members come together in friendship and service, focusing on encouraging brain safety and health and supporting those who care for others. And whereas the Pilot International Founders Fund was established in 1975 to further Pilot's humanitarian efforts in the years since has awarded more than $3.5 million to Pilot clubs, districts, and students seeking higher education. Whereas Pilot International clubs prepare youth and young adults for services by providing an outlet for students in middle and high schools to develop leadership skills while participating in community projects. And whereas Pilot International, Signal Brain Miners and Helmets programs teaches brain injury prevention to people of all ages. And whereas Pilot International continues to serve not only the Enterprise community, but the entire Wiregrass region. Now, therefore, I, William E. Cooper, Mayor of the City of Enterprise, Alabama, find it fitting that the achievements and contributions of this worthwhile organization, its clubs and members be recognized on the anniversary by proclaiming October 18, 2024 as Pilot International Founders Day, and encourage the residents of Enterprise to actively support and take pride in the efforts of this international service organization. And I will now sign. Okay, I have two proclamations here to give to each one of the clubs and to say God bless and keep you and thank you for what you are doing in our community as far as helping and trying to help maintain safety and working with our children and adults. Thank you very much.
We'll be all right. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Cooper, and certainly thank you, ladies, for your service to the community. Much deserved recognition. All right, so now we'll move on to privilege of the floor. This is the part of the meeting where anyone in attendance tonight who wishes to address the council may do so for 3 minutes. If there is a public hearing on the agenda for the topic you are concerned with, please wait until that public hearing opens to address the council. If they choose, staff, mayor, and council will respond to your comments during the appointed times later in the meeting. Repetitive, disruptive, and disparaging comments will not be tolerated. If you're found out of order, your privileges can and will be revoked. Does anyone wish to address the council at this time? Yes, ma'am. It's fine, whichever one wants to come first.
Mayor Cooper and members of the council, thank you very much for letting me come and speak tonight. My name is Paulette Lee. I have been in Enterprise since 1980, and I have been a member of the senior exercise group that used to meet at the rec center, and now they have moved over here. Our class met at the Old Rec Center for many, many years. I started with that class in 2012 when I retired, but I know that there are people in this group that have been there a lot longer than that. We never paid a fee over there. They gave us a room on Tuesday and Thursday mornings from 9 until 10, but we were never charged a fee. When the decision to do the new rec center, those things seem to have changed because we were told that we would go back there under the same stipulations. On October 8th, Blake Moore came and spoke to us and said that we have to, if we want it free, we have to stay at the Civic Center, and we have to join the Alabama Department of Senior Service group to continue having no fees. Now, you may think that that's all wonderful staying there, but we are canceled. We are the first people that are canceled. Like in September, we were canceled 3 times, I believe. In October this month, we're going to have 2 or 3. I can't remember. And it's very important when you get to this age, 80, that you do your exercises on time and keep going.
Yeah, I think you bumped the light.
I did. We understand the Civic Center has a lot of functions that they have to make time for. We've always understood that. We're low man on the totem pole, and we're probably the first ones to get canceled. If we have to pay a fee, I know we're going to lose some of the group. I know that there will be people that cannot do that. We know that up front. And I would ask you to please consider, since this has gone on for years and years and years, and the City of Enterprise was very good to us and helped find a place for us to go and meet while the Civic Center was, or the Rec Center was down. But I wished you would really consider that you grandfather these ladies in on dues. They've never had to pay a penny, and we thank the city for that very much. And I think it's very important that they be able to continue. Any questions for me?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay.
Anybody else? You certainly can. We would prefer if you not to repeat the same exact thing. If it's on the same subject, you can certainly come. Yeah.
I'm sorry, my name is Kathy Wilson. And what I would like to say is if we have to stay at the Civic Center, we've been told that we have to join the Alabama Department of Senior Services. Well, I'm opposed to that. If I wanted to join that group, I would join that group. I have right here in my hand the form that we have to fill out. There are questions on here that I don't desire to answer. But we've been told that now, since we're going to stay at the Civic Center supposedly, that we have to fill this out in order to be here. And I just want to say that I honestly do not feel that is right. I think that's against our right to choose. And I would also like to say that all we really want is a room that will contain 35 ladies, and we want 2 hours in the morning during the week. That's all we want, 1 hour for each day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Ma'am, did you?
So I was kind of going back and forth about getting up here, but I feel led to do it. My name is Lisa Jones. I live in Dothan. I've lived there a few years, and I am a part of the drug court team here in Coffee and Pike County. And I work with people in recovery, and we are having an epidemic right now. We had just had our 10th OD in the last 2.5 weeks, and it's fentanyl. I imagine it's fentanyl. I met with a guy in jail today at Pike County, and what he is using right now is fentanyl, heroin, meth, alcohol, and it's an issue, and we're not going to ever be able to stop drugs from coming in. I understand that, but if we don't speak up and do something about this, it's just going to get worse, and it's going to take over our area. So we're going to have to do something about it. And what I suggest, I've reached out to Josh Carnley's office for him to come down here for us to do a roundtable discussion, which is where we will, and I don't even know what I'm asking you guys really tonight. I just wanted to introduce myself, tell you kind of what I have in mind here and how we can move forward and all getting together against this epidemic that's taken over our towns. So the listen, I'll talk for 3 hours, so you're going to have to stop me when it's time, okay? Because I can talk. So the roundtable will have, Josh come in if he wants to speak. I work with Jeremy Mitchell from the DA's office. He's very familiar with what's going on. We need a medical professional to come in and give us some insight. We need basically 4 to 5 people to talk, set aside about 2 hours one evening, have them speak, and then invite the whole community. So that would be, something I would do is give flyers, tell people time, just generate the people that can come in here, and have them do an open floor. But something's got to give, and something's got to give about this Coffee County Jail. You know what I'm saying? We just had we've got some deaths going on there, and it's serious. And I work with a company, and we transport inmates, and they're telling me how they're bringing drugs in, and we've got to stop that because the feds and DOC are going to be down here if not. And that's something we don't want to deal with. We'd rather deal with it, ourselves. So that's just, I have some cards if you guys are interested in, speaking further and what we can do from here if y'all have any questions.
You can leave your cards with either Mr. Tullis or Emily over
Okay.
here. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Does anybody else wish to take privilege of the floor this evening? All right. If y'all want to hang around, we will have staff reports and opportunity for mayor and council comments later in the meeting. All right, next item on the agenda is staff reports. Do we have any staff reports?
Thank you, President Townsend, Mayor, other council. I would like to maybe explain a little bit more to you all the decisions that we were making about the senior aerobics. As Ms. Lee mentioned, yes, the program had been there at Enterprise Rec Center for many, many years, even before I started there. It was an ideal location. We offered it free. At one time, the average of participants was probably maybe 10 to 12, maybe 15. As the year went, and maybe later in 2012 on, maybe sooner, later, the program grew to an average of maybe 20. When it got to that point, when they were around 10 or 12, we had them in a smaller activity room. When it got to be a little bit bigger, we had to move them out to the larger room. As you all recall how big the larger room was at the rec center. Even while we were at the rec center, there were times that we had to cancel the program. I would admit not as much as we have to now, but due to the circumstances that with everything that's going on within the city, there's more reasons why we have to cancel now than when we did back then, but we did. I mean, there was elections days. There were, summer camp, so we always try to accommodate and help our seniors. And we believe in our senior citizens. We love them to death. And we're trying not to do anything to interfere or hurt them. We want to always encourage them. That's why we've always continued to provide this as a free event, free activity. But after meeting with staff, after we moved up here, meeting with staff, the program has grown from an average 20 to average 30, maybe plus, maybe less. Very good attendance. They use this floor, an open area, as you see, is more open, more room to spread out, opportunity to spread out. They use chairs to help with their exercise programs. So we feel like it's been very beneficial being up here for them. We had a discussion about how we can keep it free and keep them up here. Meeting with Birgit in the Senior Center organization, and part of that by making it free is just they have to be a member of the senior program. We're not asking them they have to participate, part of the program, but part of the requirements from Sarcoa, that there's a form that needs to be filled out, and it's just for everyone who are members of the senior center. Now, I understand that Ms. Wilson mentioned that there's some questions that she preferred not to answer, and that's for her to make that decision. Even if she doesn't answer, the program is not going to not allow them to participate. Now, the senior program for the senior center is 60 and over, based on Sarcoa's regulations. Even before now, my understanding, some are within their 50s that are participating, but we never did push the issue of categorizing them as a senior. So through our decision and growth, we had surveys that went out across the enterprise about the fitness, opportunities for the new center. And a lot of the requests were, that even through Monday through Friday, different type fitness, even all the way from early mornings up till 11 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock. And we want to be able to have the opportunity to maybe offer this program for everyone. So that was, another reason. Another one, the size of the activity room is probably about this size or maybe a little bit smaller in the rec center. And if we have to go into the activity room, it might minimize the amount of participants that will be allowed to come and exercise at one time. Keeping it here, we have a big open space, and there's no maximum of participants for participants. We want to encourage more participants. We want to encourage our seniors that are going to the senior program to come out and participate. And as my staff, our professional opinion, that we feel like this was the best to keep them here, that we can continue, the free program, and that it was just a great opportunity. As you all look at and I'll try to wind this up, Mr. Townsend, real quick, but that we're planning on, approving the fee structure. And within that fee structure, it says our seniors, based on our fee structure, is 65 and older, which would be a fee structure for that. And that's just being like a member, and that would help you when we offer the various programs. It gives you reduced rates as well. So even if we go to the rec center, we're going to have paperwork to be filled out, because we're going to have to know our members and who's not our members, and trying to keep up with personnel, people that comes into our facility. We want to continue making sure this program is getting their best value and providing the best opportunity for them. We want them to continue to exercise and get better and keep in the social impact. It was mentioned how this is a great time for them to come and social, and that's great. That's what recreation is about. There's three phases of recreation: economic, your health, and your social. Of course, economic is what brings money into your city, but your health is everyone being healthy, and then your social will be where they have the opportunity to socialize and stay in touch with each other. So again, we're in our professional opinion that we feel like this is the best to keep it up here. As far as cancellation, I will work hard with Birgit, the use of this Civic Center, to minimize cancellation. I'm not saying there will not be any. I mean, there are some meetings that you all would like to have here that would create some cancellations. In the past, when we had opportunity to cancel in one location, we were able to move them to another location, such as a farmer's market. Now we can't do that because of the City Hall's renovation. And we have a department that's utilizing the farmer's market. So, Blake, is there anything I missed or like to say? So again, just wanted to give you our understanding of why we are making this decision.
All right. Any other staff reports before we move on? All right, moving on to old business. We've got a public hearing and consideration of ordinance 091724 for ST Properties LLC rezone. I now call for a public hearing prior to consideration of ordinance 091724, providing for the rezone of .51 acres of land owned by ST Properties LLC from B1 Business District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District located at 422 Glover Avenue. All right, the hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this rezone? All right, seeing none, I will now close the hearing and entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 091724.
I move to adopt ordinance 091724.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider a bid recommendation for veterinarian services regarding animal control. I introduce and call for consideration of a recommendation from Barry Mott, bid purchasing agent, to award bid requisition number 2024-13 to James W. Sparrow, DVM, doing business as Colony Veterinary Hospital in the amount of $131,749 for veterinary services and animal housing impoundment services for the City of Enterprise from October 1, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. No other bids were received. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award the bid requisition number 2024-13 to Colony Veterinarian Hospital in the amount of $131,749.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award this bid requisition. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. Introduce Planning Commission recommendations. I introduce for the record a recommendation from the Enterprise Planning Commission to approve the following request for the rezoning of property. A request by Tom Sims with Longleaf Engineering on behalf of Bolin Properties, LLC, to rezone 22.43 acres of Nance subdivision located off Paul Street in the following lots and blocks. Block A, lots 2 and 3 for a total of 2 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block B, lots 1 through 18 for a total of 18 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block C, lots 1 through 13 and lots 18 through 26 for a total of 22 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block D, lots 1 through 8 for a total of 8 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block E, lot 1, lot 2, lot 7, and lot 8 for a total of 4 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block F, lots 2 through 5 for a total of 4 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Block G, lot 3, lots 7 through 10 for a total of 5 lots from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District. Additionally, a request by Tom Sims with Longleaf Engineering on behalf of Bolin Properties, LLC, to rezone 9.59 acres from R5 Multifamily Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District located off Paul Street. I'll now introduce ordinance 101524, the Bolin Properties, LLC, rezone 1. I introduce ordinance 101524, providing for the rezoning of 22.43 acres of Nance subdivision owned by Bolin Properties, LLC, from R2 Medium Density Single Family Residential District to R3 High Density Single Family Residential District located off Paul Street. Additionally, I'll call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for November 19th, 2024. I introduce ordinance 101524A, the Bolin Properties, LLC, rezone 2. Introducing ordinance 101524A, providing for the rezoning of 9.59 acres owned by Bolin Properties, LLC, from R5 Multifamily Residential District to R3 high-density, single-family residential district located off Paul Street. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for November 19th, 2024. We'll now review and consider Resolution 101524, declaring certain properties a public nuisance. I introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 101524, declaring certain properties which are overgrown with weeds, scrub, wild bushes, grass, and other vegetable growth as injurious to the health, safety, and welfare of the community as nuisances, and calling for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for November 19th, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 101524.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 101524. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider Resolution 101524A to amend the classification plan and salary schedule. I introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 101524A, providing for an amendment to Ordinance 1016-01, which establishes the employee classification plan and salary schedule. The amendment calls for the establishment of the position of aquatic supervisor, pay grade 17, recreation leader, pay grade 4, step 15, and recreation aide, pay grade 4, step 1. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 101524A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 101524A. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now consider adopting membership rates and hours of operation for the Recreation and Aquatic Center. I call for a motion to adopt the membership rates and hours of operation for the new Recreation and Aquatic Center as submitted.
Move to adopt the membership rates and hours of operation as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the membership rates and hours of operation as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now consider requesting the permission to seek proposals on the airport engineering and planning consulting services. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to solicit proposals for airport engineering and planning consulting services related to airport improvement projects at the Enterprise Municipal Airport. The selection is for up to 5 years and is required to comply with federal and state grant assurances. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the request to seek proposals as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request to seek proposals as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now consider a request to seek bids regarding PV Park irrigation well. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to seek bids on behalf of Parks and Recreation for a new irrigation well to be installed at PV Park. Bid phase services will be provided with Poly Incorporated in conjunction with the design of PV Park Phases 1 and 2. Funding for the well is budgeted within the PV Park Phase 2 project. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the request to seek bids as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request to seek bids as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider a request to change the November 5th, 2024 meeting location. I introduce and call for consideration of a request to hold the November 5th, 2024 work session and council meeting at the Enterprise City Board of Education Boardroom 220 Hutchison Street due to Coffee County's use of the Enterprise Civic Center as a polling location on the same date. Do I hear a motion?
I move to change the November 5th, 2024 meeting location as requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to change the November 5th, 2024 meeting location. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider a request to change the December 3rd, 2024 meeting time. I introduce and call for consideration of a request to change the December 3rd, 2024 council meeting time from 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. to avoid conflict with the Enterprise Christmas Parade. The work session will begin at 11 a.m. Do I hear a motion?
Move to change the December 3rd, 2024 meeting time as requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to change the December 3rd, 2024 meeting time as requested. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor Cooper, you have a report for us?
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations again to the members of the Pilot International, especially to those members who will be celebrating the 70th anniversary of the club in just a few weeks. We appreciate how you continue to spread the spirit of volunteerism throughout our community. I want to offer a quick reminder to all drivers to please obey the traffic laws, especially when it comes to school buses. Please keep an eye out for children. As I like to say, where there's a ball, there's a boy or girl not too far behind. Let's all do our part to keep our children safe. I would like to encourage everyone to come out to the Pumpkin Day at Farmers Market this Saturday. This annual event includes free family-friendly fun. Join me at 7:30 for the opening ceremony, followed by fun activities throughout the morning. This Saturday is also the annual Boll Weevil Fall Festival. More than 10,000 people are expected to attend. Come check out the special activities and many vendors who will be there to fill the streets. The Enterprise Police Department and the Enterprise Fire Department will both be on site. Stop by their stations, meet the officers and firefighters, and show your appreciation for these hard-working first responders. Speaking of our city employees, please spread the word that the City of Enterprise is hiring. We are always adding new members to our team. It's evident tonight with the establishment of some new positions, especially for our Parks and Rec Department. You can find our current employment opportunities on our website, as well as other news and local events. You can also stay up to date with information through our social media accounts. Finally, I want to send good luck to Miss Enterprise, Hannah Wood, as she competes this weekend in the National Peanut Festival pageant. We know she will represent our city well. And congratulations to our little Miss Enterprise, Raylene Gilly. She did a fantastic job this past weekend representing Enterprise. We're fortunate to have Hannah and Raylene to serve as our Miss and Little Miss Enterprise and appreciate the example they set for other youth to follow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Rich?
Thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you, seniors, for addressing us, the ladies that came forward, and Ms. Jones as well. Congratulations to our pilot club. I do want to ask a question just for clarity, Mr. Powell, about this, the Alabama Department of Senior Services Group. Is that, I'm kind of reading the petition that the seniors will be required to do it if they stay at the Civic Center, or is it something that SARCOA is going to require? I missed that. Can you kind of clarify that?
Yes, ma'am. There's a form that says Alabama Department of Senior Services. That's part of the SARCOA program, which is dealing with seniors and aging agency. So there's a standard form that is required to fill out. Basically, what they're really needing is, the names, location, and age with some health history information. And in my understanding, of course, some are not, would opt to provide some of that information, but that's the standard form that is required by all that are participating in the senior citizen program.
Whether they're at the Civic Center or the Rec Center?
I'm sorry?
No matter where they are, in other words, wherever they.
Well, this is primarily for the senior.
No, I'm saying the form is required whether they stay here or they offer the form to sign it, whether they stay here or whether they go to the Rec Center, or just if they stay here?
It'd be just stay here, but
Just
then
stay
we
here.
will have for everyone for everyone there too
I
as
just
well.
wanted some,
So,
just wanted to make
yes,
sure. I was
yes, this is primarily for
correct.
this. Yes, ma'am.
Is that all you had, Sonia?
That is.
Mr. Goolsbee?
I'd like to say also congratulations to the Pilot Club. There's actually two clubs, a luncheon pilot club and one that meets at night. And They've done a lot of good things for our city over the years. And ladies on the move, the seniors on the move, I hope y'all can get something worked out that's going to be suitable for you and the city. And I thank all of our employees, city employees, department heads for the job they do. Thank y'all for coming tonight.
Mr. Paget?
Like's already been said, thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate those that have come and addressed us tonight for their various needs, and you all have a good night.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all those who are watching us online, and thank you for our staunch six that showing up every council meeting. We appreciate that. Pilot Club, congratulations. I know they do a great job around the city. And seniors, I can relate because I'm a senior. So, and Paulette, Kathy, thank you for coming and talking to us tonight. Lisa, I'm glad you got up and talked. And just let me know what I need to do. Thank you, Jeremy, for helping out. October 26th, free smoke detector giveaway. Fire department's putting that out. Please contact them or go up to the Enterprise Fire Department Facebook page or Cydia page, and you'll find out where the tent will be set up, where we're going to base out of. What we normally do is go into an area around town. We've already done this 3 or 4 times, and this time we're going, I think, over towards the Coppinville area, Coppinville Road area. So it'll be out to where you can come by and get a free smoke detector, because you'd be surprised how many we put out. I went to houses and nobody had one, and that's just a shame. So we want to make sure smoke detectors in every house, every apartment in this city. So we'll get in touch with our fire chief down there too, and God bless. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank everybody for coming. Ms. Lee, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Jones, thank you all for addressing us with your concerns this evening. Certainly, Ms. Jones, looking forward to hearing more about your efforts. You know, it is concerning. You know, I hadn't heard those specific numbers, but certainly seems like anecdotally at least hearing of more and more of these ODs, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what you think the council can do to help with that. You know, Ms. Lee, Ms. Wilson, thank you all for addressing us. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. I can't claim to have any knowledge out of it. I do know that all of our staff, certainly in this case, Mr. Moore and Billy, are certainly oftentimes put in difficult situations where they have to make decisions of what they think is the best use of the resources of the city within the policies that this council sets in place. That's certainly what the mayor and their staff do on a day in, day out basis. I'm sorry that to this point it doesn't look like we've been able to come up with something that everybody's satisfied with. Hopefully we can get there. You know, ultimately, I would just encourage y'all to continue to communicate, and hopefully we can get to something that is acceptable. That is all I've got. Everybody, please stay safe and enjoy your evening. We are dismissed until the first Tuesday in November. We'll see you next month.